few days ago, I was told by both of my siblings on different occasions to address the current state of our country right now in regards to gun violence. I told both of them no because I felt that the subject was not a subject that I was exactly comfortable discussing nor ready to discuss. I continuously debated with myself whether or not I should address the mass shootings that continue to occur, also because I had the thought of talking about this before they suggested it, but I then said to myself that I wouldn't because of my own selfish reasons, of not wanting to be sad or frustrated about the stupidity in our country's laws. I've briefly discussed how I believe guns to be unnecessary in a previous episode titled Opinions I Feel Need Sharing, Part 2. Although I touched on it before, I know deep down that I won't be completing what I feel is my, quote, civic duty to try my best to be an outspoken person who speaks up on various unjust issues when needed, even if it makes me upset or uneasy. Yes, I can admit that I don't know if what I say on this podcast will make that much of a difference, but I can at least say that I put some effort in. Just like in the episode titled, gun control needs to be more than a conversation now. How many more innocent people, how many more children have to die before our government makes real change nationwide? It's sickening and tiring. Mass shootings should not be such a norm in our society that after one happens, the same comments are made but without change. This is so sad, keeping the families of the victims in my thoughts. Why would they shoot kids? I ask myself the same question, why would he shoot kids? But then I realize that insane and cynical people are not sane enough to fully comprehend the hurt that they're leaving behind. Regardless of motive, mass shootings can never be justified. Asking questions such as this and making comments as such are unfortunately simply repetitive now. I wish I could say that guns would be completely banned one day, but I know that it's not necessarily realistic. I suppose one can still wish and hope though, right? Regulating the access to guns and putting stricter rules in place regarding guns altogether is a stronger alternative. In addition to that, I wish that I could say that real change would happen sooner rather than later, but truthfully, with the way we're going now, I don't know if that will happen until the people who have a position of power either change their mindsets or change altogether. I refuse to be idle and just watch the horrors relating to gun violence continue to occur in America without me saying anything. That being said, that is why I am pushing back my originally planned episode for this week to June 4th, and I'm recording this episode to discuss the effects of guns on our country and proper methods that move towards 100% effective gun control. I'm Dara Bankole, and I'm your host of Just for Dara. Hi everyone. So in the beginning of the episode of what you just heard, I just kind of wanted to share what I had written earlier, I think on Friday around like 5 a.m. I think I woke up in the middle of the night and then I kind of had those thoughts and I couldn't really go back to sleep. So I just went ahead and wrote down my thoughts and then I shared it on my story on Instagram and I was saying how I would release this episode on the what was yesterday's date? 28th? I'm sorry. Right? 28th? I think so. Yes. 28th? Yes. Yesterday's was 28th. My bad. Anyways, of how I would release this episode on the 28th. But I didn't necessarily have the time to record it, and I didn't want to give a half drop without me properly doing research, so I figured it's better for me to just wait. But yeah, so that's what I was reading in the beginning. I felt it was important for me to also say that out here in this episode for those who maybe if you didn't see it on Instagram, so that you can see that as well. Because I'm not necessarily sure right now if I'm going to use it as the general description of this episode, because it is rather long, but I may just edit it and cut it shorter because it's very long. But yeah, so I apologize for not releasing this episode earlier. Friday was my sister's graduation, and then Saturday I had different things to do, and I just, like I said, I didn't want to give a half drop. So that's why I decided to just wait to make sure I did my research, which I even feel like there's more that I can even add, but I mean, I can always revisit it in the future, so that's why I am going to go ahead and record it now. Also, in this time, I realized though that apparently since the shooting at Robb Elementary School in Texas, there have been at least 8 mass shootings following that, according to NPR. Not all of them resulted in casualties, though, so I suppose that's the good part to it. But when I saw that, I was like, wow, that's crazy. Like, it's just, I don't know, it's so, I don't even know. I feel like at this point, all I can, like, do really that will even give me this, like, some comfort in regards to this is really just like my faith in God, because honestly it's actually just kind of tiring. Like I said in that description, like I don't even like that's the least I can say about it, that it's tiring, it's sickening. Like I don't even know what else there really is to say about it. It's just annoying and it's frustrating. But yeah, that's just crazy. Anyways, though, so to get into the actual episode, so first I'll like define what a mass shooting, and so what a mass shooting is, my bad. So it's typically been defined as the murder of more than 3 people in one location or multiple locations close to each other. Some sources say more than 4 people, but it's all around that same general area of people who are shot at. But I guess, actually, now that I think about it, I guess it's not necessarily the murder. It's just the shooting of more than three or more people in one location or multiple locations close to one another. So, the amount of mass shootings in 2022, which is obviously not gone up, being that I just said that there have been 8 since the shooting in Texas. But as of May 25th, there were 214. And that's just in America. And when I saw that number, I was like, wow. And it's only May. Like, that's crazy to think about. It is literally May. We're not even halfway through the year yet. The 5th month of this year, and that's how many mass shootings there have been. And so the Robb Elementary School shooting in Texas was the 27th school shooting this year, which I also didn't realize. I didn't realize that there had been that many school shootings. I know I had heard of some. Definitely some didn't get the same amount of attention as others did, but I did not realize that. And it's just, I feel like it's kind of slowly sinking in that, I don't even know. It's just really crazy. But at the same time, I feel like the feelings that I'm having now are the same feelings that I have after every shooting happens, right? Like everyone has those feelings of like, oh my gosh, this is so sad. This is crazy. How could this happen? And then kind of forget about it until another one happens. And I'm trying my best for this one, for me not to just forget about it until another one happens, and then those same comments are made again or whatever. At the same time, though, I don't want it to necessarily fully like put a damper on my mood and my I guess attitude, in regards to certain things. So trying to be mindful of that, trying to not let it be that I'm not acknowledging it, but at the same time not letting it fully reign over my I don't want to say happiness, but like I guess I just want to fully damper my mood, but you shouldn't let it do that. Although it is sad, I think you can acknowledge something without having to be, or without letting it fully, or not fully, without letting it affect you for forever, I guess I would say. So yeah. So firearms are one of the leading causes of death for Americans at any age, but for children below the age of 18, they are the leading cause of death according to Gifford Law Center. So when I saw this, I thought that this was also very interesting, because I was like, wow, that's crazy. Like, I mean, I guess, I don't know. It's I guess I would say saddening to see, or saddening to hear about the fact that so many, so many deaths could be prevented if it wasn't so easy to access firearms and guns. And like, I don't know. I also think it's very weird, I guess, how an 18-year-old can legally buy a gun. I don't know. I don't necessarily understand that. I think that, I don't know. It's just weird, because it's like something as life-changing as that, you can act in certain parts of the country, you can access that at age 18, or certain types of guns, you can have access to those at age 18, but then something that's not as big of a deal. Like alcohol, you can't access until you're 21, and that's nationwide. So I don't know. That's very interesting to see. But yeah. So also though, I wanted to highlight the fact that the aftermath of gun violence can leave those involved with both physical and mental effects, because a lot of times, I mean, I think it's definitely being highlighted more now, like the mental effects of gun violence and on those involved. But a lot of times it's kind of just like, oh, the physical aftermath, like if they were actually physically shot, or um, if, or just, yeah, anything like that. But also mentally though, it can definitely have an effect on your mental state, and the fact that whether or not you were shot, it can leave you that trauma from that, or whether you saw someone else shot, or even like survivor's guilt. And I think it was a couple years ago, I was watching this video of a survivor from the Sandy Hook elementary school shooting, and I know that she was saying that she's still even now struggles with that survivor's guilt. And I believe that was in 2012, so 10 years later she's still struggling with that. And I couldn't imagine how hard that is for her to have to go through that every day, like, oh, how come I'm fine, but so many of those around me, their lives were taken, or just, yeah, it's crazy for a child to have to go through that at such a young age and have that still affect them years later down the road. So like I said, it's important to acknowledge those mental effects as well as physical. It can lead to stress, depression, anxiety, and PTSD as well. So I think coping mechanisms with that, I guess I would say, are like making sure that if you're like ever going through that, or if you know someone who went through that, make sure that you have people around you. I think having those relationships around you with different people can definitely help to put those feelings at ease, and put those just those, like, yeah, like I think it would help with the trauma that comes up from experiencing anything relating to gun violence. So when discussing gun violence in this episode though, I feel like I can't neglect to mention the fact that it's been brought to light that there was a delayed response from the police in the Robb Elementary School shooting. And when I was looking into that, and what I read was that officers said that they didn't go into the school and enter the classroom because they believed that the children had already died at the hands of the shooter. So I guess they were just kind of waiting. Not too sure about that. But I wanted to say though that with that, that was definitely a, I guess, lack of judgment. I would say lack of good judgment on their parts, to where a lot more lives could have been saved if they had made the right call. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like when I read that, that also kind of made things more annoying, because it was like, okay, there are already, I believe, 19 children who died and 17 others who were injured, and 2 teachers who died. And then to find out that number could have been significantly lower, but it wasn't, because of the fact that they didn't go into the school. Now, I don't know how far this is true, but from a lot of things I've read, it's like people say like, oh, the police were scared, so that's why they didn't go in, and like some police even went in to get their own children, but didn't bother trying to save everyone else. I don't know how true that is, because I didn't fully look into that to see if that's actually accurate. But if it is, that's, I don't know. Wow, that's just really, I feel like I don't know like that many words to use, but it is just really sad, is what I would say. And so with that though, like I know that a lot of the parents who were outside the school said that the police weren't doing anything. So they even tried to go into the schools themselves to help their children and get them out, but the police prevented them from doing that. And so I believe, like I said before, like in the like beginning introduction part, that it's not realistic to ban guns completely, and I know that, but I mean, it's still nice to hope, Personally, I would like living in a place where guns aren't legal, but whatever. But I think that because that's not realistic, it's important to have gun safety, like learning how to properly use and carry a gun, not making it so accessible to, well, children, honestly, to young people. I don't think that necessarily makes that much sense. Um, like like I said, with like gun safety, I feel like this is a I believe this is a thing or whatever in some areas, but I don't think it's necessarily that enforced. But I feel like with people being able to purchase guns, there should be some kind of like mandatory I don't know, mandatory like class or type of thing to like teach them even how to like properly carry the gun and like use it. But at the same time, I know that's also not fully realistic, because then it goes down to like who's going to pay for that and who's going to regulate that and who's going to mandate that. So I don't know. Like I said, it's nice to think about that or hope or whatever. But yeah. So also, though, I wanted to say that in this episode title, when I said that at this point, gun control should be more than just a conversation, me saying that is not me saying that conversations don't do anything. Obviously, I mean, like, that's kind of what this whole podcast is about. It's just conversations, right? And I feel like they definitely can have an effect. I think that they can bring more attention and awareness to a certain cause. I think that people can then begin to learn more about something and know more about something when those conversations are had. But at the same time, I think that I don't know, I feel like such a heavy topic like this shouldn't just be mounted to just a conversation. It needs to be happening to where there's actual real change. That's why I think it's incredibly important to let your voice be heard, vote, and put your opinions out there. That way, the people that are being elected into various positions are people who, at least this is just, I guess, personal opinion, but people who will make decisions that will not just benefit one side, but benefit everyone, I guess. That's what I'm trying to say. And then also think, I would say, logically for certain issues that are clearly preventable. So, yeah. But with this episode, though, I don't want the whole episode to just be centered around like the sad and the unfortunate things that are happening when it comes to gun violence and mass shootings and all of that stuff. I don't want it to just be about that. But I wanted to kind of touch on ways to prevent things like this from happening and mass shootings from happening, and like from the start, from an early age. So I was speaking to my dad earlier today, and we were having a conversation about this, about how, because the thing is, with this specific person, the shooter and the Rob Elementary School shooting, he was, I guess, a child or a kid himself, or a teenager, turned 18 that day. Or a few days, I think it was that day, right? Or, excuse me if I'm wrong, I believe it was either that day, but then I saw somewhere else that it was like May 16th, so I'm not really sure, but I think it was, I feel like it was that day though. But so with that, I mean, he was in high school himself, I think it's just important to realize that although I would never, ever, 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 ever excuse this behavior, excuse anything like this, but it clearly came from somewhere, right? I don't think it was kind of just like a spur of the moment type of thing. I definitely think it was planned. He knew what he was doing for sure, and I would say that there was a reason behind he did what he did. So that being said, though, with what my dad was talking about and when I was talking to him, it was more just saying things like, when you begin to have maybe like mentoring programs in schools and talking to kids from an early age and just letting them know that they have someone there in their lives with them and building that relationship with them, I think that can help to prevent things from like this from happening. At the same time, I'm not saying that's a guaranteed prevention, but I definitely think it can kind of limit that amount. So, like, when when I mean mentoring though, is like when you're in schools and like I said, from an early age though, like letting, just like I said, letting those kids know that they have someone that they can come and talk to, letting them know that they don't have to just kind of, I guess, hide or whatever what they're feeling or what they're going through, anything like that. So that they know that this is not an answer to your problems, going and shooting innocent people. It's not an answer to your problems. It's not going to solve anything. It's not going to fix anything. It's not going to really, well, not really, it's not going to do anything positive at all. It's not, there's no positive gain from this, no positive outcome. So I think when you begin to talk to people about these things, it helps them to realize that, if you are going through something, instead of just trying to kind of cause as much damage or harm onto other people as possible, realize that you can really, I guess, kind of help yourself get out of this through talking to people and through building those relationships, building those connections, and different things like that. So I kind of wanted to also touch on that. Like, I feel like the mentoring is a huge part. Also, on a daily though, I feel like it's important to just be nice to everyone around you. That way, because you really never know what someone's going through, and you don't want to be the, I guess, maybe breaking point for them. I don't know. I don't want to say doing something they'll regret, because it's not your fault if that happens. That's clearly a decision they made on their own, and that's a stupid decision that they made on their own. But, just, I would say, be nice to everyone. Now, so, also though, the other thing I wanted to say though was that while I personally believe that, or I believe whatever, that guns and anything, any type of gun, handgun, AK-47, whatever, AR-15, whatever it is. Now, I wish that they would be banned completely and wouldn't even be around at all. I do know, though, that some people feel that they're beneficial in the sense of self-defense. I understand that, but I don't know. I just think that things would be a lot better if they weren't existing. You can look at countries where where guns aren't allowed and where they are banned, and you can see how they don't have as many school shootings, they don't have as many mass shootings as we do here in the U.S. So I think when you look at those numbers and you compare those numbers, you realize that what is so, I don't know how to put it into words, but I guess I'm really just saying that I feel like as a country, we will still survive we will still survive without guns, is what I'm saying. Yeah. So I just think that's definitely something to think about. I've also seen how a lot of people who are typically I guess for the it's not continuation, but I guess pro-gun, are even stepping up and talking about this shooting that just happened, and talking about the Buffalo shooting, and how with things like this that continue to happen day after day, or month after month, whatever, that it calls for the attention that this is a conversation we need to have. Like I said, I know that they can't ban guns altogether, but restricting the access to it, restricting what age you can even purchase a gun legally at, and also more thorough background checks is what I'm going to say. But at the same time, I know that background checks can't solve everything, because your record or whatever starts somewhere, right? And I guess before that first thing, there was nothing. So, I don't know. But I guess I would say it's sad. And I also did want to say, though, that when I said that comments like keeping them in their thoughts or things like that are repetitive, I'm not saying that they're not, I'm not saying that they're useless, I guess. I'm just saying that it's repetitive in the sense that it's just, these comments are going to continue to be made, but I don't know if real change will happen. I can only hope that it will be. I can only hope that people use their voting rights to elect officials that they feel will make adequate change in this country, and just yeah, I guess that's really all I can say about that. But I will say, though, honestly, continue to keep the victims and those who and the other people affected in your thoughts and prayers. So I will say that, though. But that's pretty much it for this episode. Like I said, I may revisit it far distant future. I'm not sure. But I hope you guys enjoy this episode. I apologize again for releasing it late, but I just felt like that would be a lot better that way. I wasn't just speaking rubbish in the episode. Also, it's kind of crazy because literally next Saturday is actually the season finale for season 4. I was not expecting that. That happened rather quickly. It's kind of weird. I'm still hoping to put out a bloopers episode. I'll let me not say probably because I don't want to say something that doesn't happen. But I'm going to try to maybe do it this week or start compiling the parts or whatever this week because I'm out of school and I finished school last week, so I don't really have too much to do except for like various things or whatever, I guess. And also, I have like a lot of episode ideas for season 5, which I'm actually really excited for because a lot of them I feel like they're going to be really good and like different guests and stuff. And so, yeah, I'm just really excited. But season 5 will be starting, I want to say it's either going to be August or September. One of those. I was going to say this because I didn't want it to like not happen, but I feel like it's going to happen. So I'll just go ahead and say it. But I'm planning, keyword planning, so I don't know for sure, but I'm planning on having like a summer mini series in July with like 5 episodes or less. So not more than 5, it may be less, but maybe even 3, I don't know. But with 5 episodes or less in July, and that would so if I do have that, then season 5 will start September. But if I don't have that, then season 5 will start August. Now, if you have this time, though, I'll try to release a bonus episode. Keyword try. I don't know. I probably might not. I don't know. Maybe. But, yeah, if I have the time, I guess. Maybe, like, summer. I don't know. Something related to summer, I guess. Yeah, I feel like that's kind of all I have to say. I think, yeah, I don't want to ramble. So that's kind of all I have to say. But I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Look out for new episodes in the future. And yeah. So I'll see you guys next Saturday. Thank you for listening. And that's it. Just bye.